Hello from the Global Legal Hackathon 2018 Final Round Gala here in New York City. I'm Alex Muncey and we're on the road with Legal Talk Network. And we're back. Thank you so much for joining us on the road. Today we're at the Global Legal Hackathon 2018 Final Round Gala. We're here on the bank of the Hudson, and I'm here with two teams, INCO-herent from Cleveland, Ohio, and Decoding Law from Hong Kong. And I'd like to start first with just understanding a little bit about how you guys met. Let me start with the team INCO-herent here. How did you guys meet, and how did you first sort of come together to look at Incoterms and try and find a solution for simplifying the whole process?
Well, several of us are law students. We have one team member from the University of Akron, and three of us are from Cleveland Marshall College of Law in Cleveland, Ohio. And there was a professor at Cleveland Marshall, and he caught wind of the Global Legal Hackathon, and he publicized the event. And all of us, really, we all just showed up. You know, it was an event that was open to the public, and we all took an interest. We showed up, and we met, actually, some of us met the day of the event, and we just sort of formed a team, you know, on the spot. One of our team members, Kevin Burwell, he actually works in, kind of international shipping in the U.S. steel industry, and, you know, he's the one that really kind of had the brainchild. You know, so he had this idea, you know, is having a lot of trouble with Incoterms, with international shipments, you know, all the problems that can arise if, the Incoterms are not adhered to from the shipper, and the chaos that can create.
So just for our listeners, I mean, could you just give a little bit of background of what Incoterms are and how they function?
Okay, Incoterms are international shipping terms, and I'm going to let Kevin actually explain that one.
Incoterms are the terms that people use when they're shipping something cross-border typically, and it's a way to, for everybody that's involved to understand who's bearing the cost, the insurance, the risk. So for example, if you were to ship something EXW or X Works, that means that somebody has to go right to the buyer and pick it up right at the door. Those are the Incoterms. They're done by the International Chamber of Commerce, but they're not legally binding all by themselves. You got to incorporate them into contracts.
So your solution is to essentially specify what those terms are and then build those into a blockchain framework.
Right. They are definitely spelled out for everyone, but not everyone understands them inherently. But they exist as three-letter acronyms: EXW, DDP, DAP, etc. And there's guidelines and obligations behind those.
One of the advantages of our platform is that it comes with sort of a plain language explanation and decision tree. It's a series of questions that helps the buyer or the seller identify the Incoterm based on their actual shipping needs. So an understanding of the Incoterms in advance of using our product is not necessary. We sort of facilitate that choice and eliminate some of the error at the point of execution.
So in terms of a target market, would you be looking towards sort of companies that have a logistics-heavy operation, things like e-commerce companies, or where's your target market?
Our target is really on the buyers and the sellers. There's a lot of moving parts, no pun intended, when it comes to a supply chain. And rather than taking everybody that's in that supply chain and trying to incorporate everything into each component, this simply exists between the buyer and seller and no one else.
We also sort of offer our product on a subscription basis or on a single-use contract, so you don't have to be a large company to have access to our platform and what we're providing. I think the single-use contracts, we start at $10. So it can be someone who's just shipping something once, or it can be a larger company where a subscription-based quarterly or yearly fee is more suitable for their needs and their sort of volume and quantity.
Okay, that's interesting. So you're targeting it at a sort of individual consumer, but ability as well to scale it up, either a small or medium-sized enterprise. Okay, so just I'd like to sort of bring you into the fold as well, Decoding Law. You've obviously flown in from Hong Kong. How did you guys meet, and would you be able to tell me a little bit about your product?
Yeah, sure. So basically, we're a team of 9. So 3 of us, including myself, we joined another competition before, and we create an app to help people to get access to free legal information. After that, we came across this Global Legal Hackathon, so we pulled 2 more students in our team and 1 more developers. And on the first day, we met 3 other developers in our final team. So that's why we have 9 people eventually. And as for our solution, is a plugin that helps people to read legislation. There are 3 simple steps. So first is the AI chatbot. So you just input your situation or your question, and then we will show you the exact provision of relevant legislation. And the second part would be a navigation tool. So we highlighted all the legally defined terms. And when you hover the highlighted terms, you can see the definition right away, and you don't have to go up and down to check it. And eventually it's the sentence structure analysis. So the legal drafting can be very difficult to understand, and we will break down the drafting into 3 intuitive categories, namely condition, result, and exception. So you can read and understand the law more easily.
Okay, so who are you targeting this at? I mean, is this for law students to sort of help them, or is it for people that want to represent themselves in certain cases, or where's your focus mainly been?
We are targeting the unrepresented litigants in Hong Kong. Actually, in Hong Kong, it's very much around 45% of them is actually unrepresented litigants. They do not have a lawyer representing themselves. So they have to check out the legislation themselves. So actually, we're targeting that. But actually, eventually, we will spread to the general public as well, so that they can benefit the public. Yeah.
Fantastic. So have you already launched this platform, or when is your launch date, or where are things at the moment?
Well, the plugin, especially for the navigation tool, is already usable. So we haven't really launched in the market, but if you have the developer mode, then you can definitely use it. And we're all the team members are already using it, and also some of our friends in law schools. For the future, we are now still developing the back end, the AI training. So we need some more time and some more data to eventually make it work smoothly. And we anticipate that the vetting process would be quite challenging, and we are contacting parties, including law firms and also Hong Kong governments, to help us with that.
Fantastic. I mean, it's really, really interesting to see that both of you have a common theme of trying to make quite complicated language and difficult terms much more accessible and much easier to understand for either in terms of access for justice, or in terms of setting up Incoterms for shipping arrangements. I mean, you're coming at it from 2 different places. You, from more of an AI perspective, you're using more of the immutable strengths of blockchain. But for our listeners that really want to follow you and find out a little bit more and stay in touch and sort of keep track of your progress, how will they, do you have any contact information and ways that they could get in touch with you?
Well, we are on Twitter at IncoTelligent, and you can email us with any questions at incotelligent@gmail.com.
Fantastic.
And we are on Facebook. You can search Decoding Law Hong Kong as Decoding Law HK. Also, you can contact us through email, decodinglaw.hk@gmail.com. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, we've reached the end of the road for today's episode. I want to thank our guests, Decoding Law and INCO-herent, for joining us today. And I want to thank our listeners for tuning in. If you've liked what you heard, please find and rate us in Apple Podcasts. And we'll see you next time for another episode of On the Road with Legal Talk Network.
If you'd like more information about what you've heard today, please visit LegalTalkNetwork.com. Subscribe via iTunes and RSS. Find us on Twitter and Facebook, or download our free Legal Talk Network app in Google Play and iTunes. The views expressed by the participants of this program are their own and do not represent the views of, nor are they endorsed by, Legal Talk Network, its officers, directors, employees, agents, representatives, shareholders, and subsidiaries. None of the content should be considered legal advice. As always, consult a lawyer.